Thank you guys so much for having us tonight. I come to you from the town of South Kingstown. I'm on the South Kingstown Town Council. Last year, the South Kingstown Town Council was the only municipality in the state to send you a resolution in support of the Reproductive Healthcare Act. There's a reason why municipalities don't often speak out on these types of issues. We have no authority over them, no influence over them, and are likely never to encounter them at the town council chambers. But our community compelled us to take this into consideration and to send a strong message to our legislators about how important and how valuable we find the women in our community and their rights are. I've lived in South Kingstown my entire life. I have 11 siblings. 8 have been adopted through the state of Rhode Island, the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. I'm happily married and have been for 10 years. My husband and I decided to have a child about 6 years ago, and were extremely unsuccessful for several years. It took a lot of intervention, fertility treatments, a lot of disappointing months, and we didn't think we were going to be able to have children. Just about the time we decided that it wasn't possible, and we sunk all of our money into a house that we were going to renovate, we of course became pregnant. While I was grateful for it, I figured that's just the way of the world, and thought I was lucky to have one child. We acquired my niece later, a few months later. Now she's a permanent part of our family through a permanent guardianship through DCYF, so we have 2 children. We decided that we'd like to add another child to our family, and that was 3 years ago, and we faced the same difficulties that we had the first time. So why would I come here when I so desperately want to have a child of my own and advocate for women to be able to terminate their pregnancies? I tried to find myself in the women who come here and talk about their abortions and the choices that they've made. It's not a choice that I might make for myself in my present situation, but it's a choice I have. And what we share in common with those women are the fact that we do have a choice. I have a right to spend thousands of dollars through my insurance company, through procedures to grow a child, to force a child to exist in my body, even if it's not supposed to. What gives me the right to do that and not a woman a right to terminate a pregnancy and not go through 9 months of growing a human being in your body? So over the last few years, I've been working with the Woman Project. I've explained to people and watched them cringe as I explain that our uteruses are regulated. They don't like to talk about uteruses, and they also don't like to hear that a body part is regulated, but it's true for women. Men bear no responsibility in impregnating a woman. There is no federal legislation that prohibits a man from getting a woman pregnant or tells him the consequences of doing so. I've heard a lot of people say that codifying Roe v. Wade in the state of Rhode Island is a gesture. They say it's meaningless, it's preemptive, it's premature, it's not necessary. I don't agree with those statements, but make no mistake, this next coming election, a failure to bring the Reproductive Healthcare Act to the floor for a vote can be called nothing short of reckless. It's a choice you're making on behalf of the women of Rhode Island, and it's a gamble with their reproductive rights, and it's not a gamble that you have a right to take on our behalf. I never thought I would be here to ask you to support the Reproductive Healthcare Act. It's different times that we live in. I never thought I would be here begging for legislation to regulate guns so we didn't have to worry about children being shot in school. I never thought that I would have to be here advocating for DCYF to take responsibility for the children who die in their care year after year due to inadequate services that are offered. I never thought I'd have to beg somebody to protect the people who were brought here as children and who have grown to be productive, wonderful citizens of our country that are being forced to leave and having their families torn apart. I never thought I'd have to ask anybody to protect them. But this is the world that we live in. This is the reality that we're in. And I think you have an ethical and a moral obligation to recognize that times are different, and the Reproductive Healthcare Act is extremely appropriate for the times that we're in right now. So I urge you to please consider bringing that to the floor for a vote. Thank you.